This is not exactly the form I had hoped this would take. The mini episode you're about to hear is one that I've had in mind since before I started the show, and my initial thought was to try and get a couple interviews with some specific people and intercut them into here, but that did not work out. To be honest, I thought I had more time, and I was wrong. There is no guest for this. There is no interview. This will be a short monologue about a subject that has been on my mind for as long as I can remember and is even more on my mind recently. And because I'm broken and apparently only know how to process things through talking about it on a podcast, well, I want to talk about grief. I want to talk about games that make me think about grief, and obviously the music that goes with it specifically. Let's start with two games that are openly about grief and loss. One's close to my heart for that very reason. Let's start with Freebird's To the Moon series. Anybody who has listened to my stuff before knows that these have always been some of my favorites. If you've never played To the Moon, the game follows two scientists who work for a company that can use technology to essentially implant fake memories into somebody's brain, and they use this as a sort of wish fulfillment service specifically for people who are at the very end of their life. Neil and Eva, your two-player characters, are sent to the home of a man named Johnny in order to grant his wish to go to the moon. He doesn't remember why he wants to go to the moon. He just knows that it's something he has to do. Over the course of about 3 hours, you begin to work your way through his memories of life, starting from the end and working your way all the way back to his childhood. Throughout, you begin to learn the story of his deceased wife, River, and what follows is a masterclass of setting up dominoes to drop them all at the perfect moment. Its soundtrack by series creator Kangao is one of my favorites of all time. I actually mentioned it during the show's second episode with Chase Bethia, where I said, there's a song in it called For River, which is a piano piece that on its own, it's a very nice piano piece. It's kind of repetitive. Even characters in the game comment like, it's kind of just, some of it's just kind of the same notes over and over again, huh? And so like on its own, it's a fine piano piece, but then in the context of everything that happens in that game's story, that song is an emotional wrecking ball.
Oh, wow.
For River is generally a very well done song, but in my opinion, the version that gets to me the most nowadays is the version that plays over the credits. An absolutely gorgeous full rendition of the piece. The other song from the game that I want to highlight is the big vocal track, Laura Shigihara's Everything's Alright, a song that is largely from the perspective of both Johnny and River, but also just has a feeling to it all its own, if that makes sense. A friend of mine once described it as the song that plays when nothing is all right, and I think that's fitting. If you aren't tearing up by the time this song hits, I don't know what to tell you. It's beautiful. Laura's vocals are amazing, and it's one of the first songs that comes to mind when I think about the concept of loss.
When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me.
The second game I want to talk about is also very loudly about grief, and it's the game Spiritfarer. In Spiritfarer, you play as a young lady named Stella who is taken over from Charon as the new ferryman of the dead. Stella's ship sails around the afterlife, picking up the souls of the departed and helping them through their own personal quests before eventually taking them to the final gate and seeing them off to what comes after. It is an incredibly good game, again, about loss and the importance/inevitability of letting go. For me, there are two songs that really represent these themes best off of the game's soundtrack by composer Max LL. The first is called Final Voyage, playing when you are taking somebody to the gate to pass on. You have one last conversation with them, and the swell you'll hear in the clip is when Stella gives them one final hug before they disappear for good, taking their place among the stars. The second song is the game's credits theme, What Will You Leave Behind, a vocal theme performed by Maud Plant-Hussarak. A beautiful theme about saying goodbye with the promise that the memories will remain and you will remember.
And I'll take your hand and guide you through all the steps one takes to move on to a place, a world unseen to us all, but it's okay, we'll be together.
Next, I want to talk about a specific song from a game that doesn't really fit in with the rest of the games I've talked about so far. This one is a personal story that I've actually never told in public before, but I kind of think it's really illustrative of the power of music to give form to feelings of grief. In 2015, I lost a friend to suicide. The details are unimportant, and you don't need to know them. Around that time, I was really getting into Final Fantasy music despite having never played any of the games at that point, and I was hearing a lot of it for the first time through Theatrhythm Curtain Call on the 3DS. One song that I especially latched onto during this time for some reason was the main theme of Final Fantasy XIV, Answers by Nobuo Uematsu. I don't know why, but to this day, I still associate this song with that friend. It's enough to make me incredibly emotional still. It doesn't make much sense to me. This friend never played Final Fantasy XIV as far as I'm aware. The only Final Fantasy game I know for a fact that he played was 6, where he named the cast after his friends, and if I remember correctly, I was Cyan. But mostly, it's the final few lines that get to me, entirely based on when I first heard them and what was happening in my life at the time. I don't know. This story felt relevant. Maybe I'm wrong, but I still felt it was worth telling.
Thy life is a riddle to bear rapture and sorrow, to listen, to suffer, to entrust unto tomorrow. In one fleeting moment from the land of life
The final thing I want to talk about feels like it might be a bit of a dark subject, but I promise you it's not as dark as it sounds, okay? Okay. I don't know if it's because of my history of mental health issues or because I have a fascination with the subject of grief or what, but I have put a shocking amount of thought into what song I would like sung at my funeral. Hold on, don't go. Just give me a second. To me, a funeral song has to be a mix of two things. It has to say goodbye to those who love you, and it has to reflect who you are as a person. I've thought through multiple songs that could potentially fit that bill, some of which I've actually already played in this little mini episode, but the one I finally landed on a few years ago is the song Build a Little World with Me by Laura Shigihara from her game Rakuen. To me, it really exemplifies what I want out of a funeral song. It's sad and about saying goodbye, but it also has a happiness and a hope to it and a celebration of creativity that I really, really resonate with. It's powerful and I really love it. And if anybody's listening to this for whatever reason, currently organizing my funeral, this is the one I want. But don't worry, I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. You're stuck with me for the long haul, I hope. Things are a little rough right now. Grief has reared its head once again, but like all things, it will pass. Things will get easier. Life will move on. I'm actually going to play the entire song, Build a Little World with Me, here because I think it fits. Though, just know that if you're listening to a version that doesn't have it, it's because Laura Shigihara contacted me to ask me to not do that. And if that happens, I will oblige, and it will be gone. Until then, I hope you spend as much time as you can with the ones you love. I hope you hold them close and remember them when they're gone. Thank you for sticking around. I'll talk to you all again very soon.
Once these walls were gray, but you made stars and skies and snowflakes. We found a rainbow everywhere. You made a place so we could hide away. And if you stay right by my side, we'll make it through the night, and you'll never have to feel alone again. So before it's time to leave, would you build a little world with me? Once this room was cold, but then I asked the sun to smile again. Our castle covered the expanse with all the patches, pillows we could hold. And if I stay right by your side, we'll make it through the night, and I'll never have to feel alone again. So before it's time to leave, would you build a little world If you stay right by my side, we'll make it through the night, and we'll never have to feel alone again. So before it's time to leave, would you build a little world with me? Now it's time for me to leave. I'm glad you built this little world